Hey there, I am Jacqueline Hughes. I am a registered yoga instructor, ICU nurse, mom of a 4-year-old little girl, and I'm here to share with you today a little about how we go about practicing yoga in our family and for my little one. Now, some of you may be well versed in your own yoga practice, but not quite sure how to bring your little one into the mix, and some of you may be brand new to yoga too and not quite sure where to start or how to get going. And I just wanted to provide you a little bit of support and say that it's a journey. We all have to start somewhere. And my journey began in 2001 with my own practice. And over the course of the many years that I've been practicing, I keep learning every single day about my own practice. And having a little one now, she's 4 years old, I have to approach it much differently with her than I started because their little young minds are still forming these concepts and ideas. And it's more about movement and fun. And so I wanted to put together a little series where I shared a little bit of our home yoga practice that I do with my daughter and how I've approached it in her life, and a little bit of the prep work that you do with little ones to get them ready to do practice, because as much fun as it can be to just help them move their bodies, it's good to go into it with an understanding, even for them to pick up on breath and the calming effects that yoga can have on their body. Even if they're not even completely sure what that's all about, you start instilling those concepts early enough on, and it becomes much easier for them to incorporate them in their interpersonal skills as well as on their yoga mat when they're practicing. So one of the ways that I did this with my daughter is just by breathing. I do story time with her several times a day, usually at night. But some of the books that I first started out with that she really enjoyed from when she was 2 years old on, I would read The Angry Octopus, and this is by Lori Light. And it's a little bit longer of a read, but it's a great depictive story, some amazing illustrations that really share with your child how they can have outside influence come in this case anger or disruption, feel those feelings and have a positive outlet. There's a fun little sea child mermaid that walks the octopus through how not to be angry, and it gives them that visualization, so much so that when my daughter was 2 and from 2 to 3, when she was going through that terrible twos, we would talk about her being, she'd say, "I'm the angry octopus, mommy," and her anger would be the octopus's ink, and I'd say, "So you don't get all over everybody, what should you do?" And she'd put herself in time out. So we had that conversation, and now that she's a little bit older and understanding things and we can do some practice physically on her mat, we talk about breathing and letting that same kind of energy go in a healthy way through movement. So this is a great book that I highly recommend. Another one that's really great is by Wayne Dyer, who you might recognize from other adult books. Pick up Unstoppable Me. It's a great story about just kids in this really basic breakdown of steps. So the first one is "You're great no matter what," and it talks about accepting people's differences and accepting what's different about you. Number 2 is "Persistence Pays Off," and it gives cute little anecdotal rhyming stories to go along with it. 3 is "Welcome the Unknown." So it opens them up to different concepts and ideas that we practice on our mat in yoga, but also in life that's just good for people to have. And the last one I'm going to recommend today is "I Am," and this one too is by Wayne Dyer. A lot of people have a hard time saying namaste at the end of their practice because they're not entirely sure what it means, and there's a lot of crossover conversation about religion and yoga practice. Well, here's the thing. I can tell you that as a Christian and a practicing yogi since 2001, I have become deeper in my spirituality as a Christian through my yoga practice because I've tapped into that energy from the inside. Now, whatever your belief system, yoga does provide a lot of healing qualities physically and mentally. So namaste just means simply the light in me acknowledges and sees that same light inside of you. It honors it. So that's all namaste means. It's not a prayer or blessing, but it's just a human to human acknowledging that a light within me sees and recognizes that same thing in you. And that's kind of what this talks about, that all the passions that you have, all the same light that you have inside yourself, that's from a higher power, higher existence, and the energy that exists within one exists within another. And so that's a really cute way. It's a great story and a cute way for kids to start hearing it and being reinforced, because their minds are at their most malleable at this stage in the game. And if you're taking time each day to start instilling those little seeds, planting those little seeds for them, it'll help them to grow and help you to communicate with them later on down the road when you're trying to talk with them about these complex concepts that we deal with in interpersonal relationships, which is something I think, as on the whole, we're really lacking in school-age children and their development. We're so hyper-focused on the education and academics, but the interpersonal skills really need some help too. Talking, working through anger, working through conflict. So in our home, that's something that I started doing at a very young age with McKenna, and that we continue to use now. So in later videos, I'm going to show you, once you start to plant those seeds, I'm going to give you some basic breakdowns of some asana, which is the physical practice of yoga, and how to make it fun for kids, how to make it more playful. It's not like adult yoga where there's a strict sequence and you follow all the way through. You can set up movements, but I recommend starting with it being very playful, starting with it on your mats and just getting them to feel connected to their bodies, getting the range of motion down. If you're starting with them really young, you just need to keep it light, keep it fun. I'll give you some basic movements for you to just practice with them ahead of time, not in any kind of sequence, but just as fun. And then as they start to get to the age where McKenna is now 4.5, 5 years old, you can start to sequence things and they'll follow along with you much more willingly. So I hope that you enjoy this little series that I'm putting together for you, and that you join me and share what it is that you're learning about yourself and about your little one at this stage in the game. I'm always happy to connect with you. I have on my website, which is listed down below, as well as my other links if you want to connect. I offer groups and ways for you yourself to start your own type of practice or fitness and health regimen. And then, of course, the more that you do that and they see you instill those behaviors in your life, they will want to follow in your shoes. So I look forward to connecting with you, and I hope you have a beautiful day.